When we first developed and designed the original HYSYCAT hulls, the boats worked very well, but there were some behavior problems. And in catamarans, there's often funny behavior depending on the sea condition that you run. Very often catamarans would work very well in small chop conditions. The moment they start getting into big seas with following seas, especially waves from behind, they could have funny behavior and steer on the waves. We had a similar situation in the original HYSYCATs, where the asymmetrical bow act as a rudder and it would steer on the waves. By running these boats in some serious racing events and rough sea conditions around the southern tip of Africa, where we get some of the biggest sea conditions you can imagine, we managed to pick up a number of small problems on these hulls. And on actual full-scale models, actual boats on the water, we made some changes. We actually played around with a few spray rails and a few concepts, and actually making these hulls foolproof. So in the beginning, the HYSYCAT was a little bit sensitive. Maybe there's some people that's owned some of the very original HYSYCATs from 15 years ago. They might have found that these boats were slightly sensitive to trim. If you move weight around on the deck, the boat might porpoise. By changing a number of hull concept items, the boat became a lot more easy. Anybody can run a HYSYCAT now. You can't really make a mistake by getting the trim wrong. You can obviously always maximize the performance by working with the trim and setting it up so that it gets the top performance. But no one can really make a mistake and be in danger of doing something stupid. So over the years, by running these boats very often, using them in various conditions, the hull design has been altered and altered until we believe now we have one of the most perfect hulls. There's always better improvements that can be done, and there will probably be improvements in the future. But as the products are currently set up and leaving the factory, it is actually very good, very safe, and it's brilliant for anybody without experience to run them. If you want to run a HYSYCAT with high performance, which quite often happens, people know that the boats are fast, and novice that's not really familiar with racing would like to run some big engines and fancy propellers. Even with that concept, high-speed propellers, people tend to very easily find the best performing and the best position to run the throttles and to run the trim on the HYSYCAT. So all in all, on a HYSYCAT, it's a little bit more sensitive than a conventional boat. There is more trimming to be done. You could actually adjust the balance of the boat with a trim if you've got twin engines on the boat. If you get a strong wind blowing from the side and the boat leans a little bit more to the one side, more weight on the one side, you can just trim that motor slightly and it will balance the boat out. Where with conventional boats, the trim doesn't have a big effect.